Gift of the Magi multiple choice questions. 1. Della only has to spend on a Christmas present for her husband. A. $1.87. B. $2.37. C. $8.21. D. $12.54. Answer. A. $1.87. 2. There was nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little couch and howl. This quotation shows Della's sense of A. Responsibility. B. Anger. C. Grief. D. Helplessness. Answer. D. Helplessness. 3. There was nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little couch and howl. Which word in this quoted sentence indicates the couple's poverty? A. Nothing. B. Flop. C. Shabby. D. Howl. Answer. C. Shabby. 4. Life is made up of sobs, sniffles and smiles, is an example of A. Simile. B. Personification. C. Alliteration. D. Onomatopoeia. Answer. C. Alliteration. 5. Jim's full name is Mr. James Dillingham Young. The letters of Dillingham looked blurred, as though they were thinking seriously of contracting to a modest and unassuming. This quote is an example of A. Simile. B. Personification. C. Alliteration. D. Onomatopoeia. Answer. B. Personification. 6. Della finished her cry and looked out dully at a gray cat walking a gray fence in a gray backyard. The repetition of the word gray reinforces the mood. A. Colorful. B. Holiday. C. Dreary. D. Boring. Answer. C. Dreary. 7. Jim's gold watch, his finest possession, is a family heirloom, inherited from his A. Father. B. Uncle. C. Godfather. D. Father-in-law. Answer. A. Father. 8. O. Henry also includes a biblical reference concerning Jim's watch. Jim's gold watch is so exquisite even King would pluck at his beard in envy. A. Herod. B. David. C. Solomon. D. Saul. Answer. C. Solomon. 9. Della looks into the pier glass between the windows of the room. Her beautiful hair fell about her, rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. This quotation contains an example of A. Simile. B. Personification. C. Alliteration. D. Onomatopoeia. Answer. A. Simile. 10. Della's hair reaches her A. Shoulders. B. Waist. C. Knees. D. Calves. Answer. C. Knees. 11. Della decides to go to Madame Sofronie, the owner of a hair and wig shop. Della sells her hair for A. $10. B. $20. C. $50. D. $100. Answer. B. $20. 12. Della tells Madame Sofronie, "Give it to me quick," because Della does not want to. A. Cry. B. Tell Jim. C. Waste time. D. Change her mind. Answer. D. Change her mind. 13. Della wants a proper watch chain for Jim, because his beautiful watch only has an old A. Leather strap. B. Worn ribbon. C. Faded band. D. Broken buckle. Answer. Leather strap. 15. In an attempt to minimize her hair cut, Della uses a curling iron. O. Henry uses a simile to describe the finished product. Within 40 minutes her head was covered with tiny, clothesline curls that made her look wonderfully like a child's doll. B. Scared porcupine. C. Truant schoolboy. D. Comical puppet. Answer. Truant schoolboy. 16. When Jim comes home from work, the description of his clothing also accentuates the young couple's poverty. He needed a new overcoat, and he was without. A scarf. B. Boots. C. Gloves. D. All of these. Answer. C. Gloves. 17. When Jim first sees Della with her hair short, he has an expression she could not read. It was not anger, nor surprise, nor disapproval, nor horror. This quotation is an example of A. Repetition. B. Parallel structure. C. Metaphor. D. Symbolism. Answer. B. Parallel structure. 18. Jim finds it hard to believe Della has cut and sold her hair. Almost in shock, he asks about her hair cut more than once. Initially, Della thinks her husband does not like the way she looks without her long hair. To reassure him, she repeatedly says she'll A. Buy a wig. B. Wear a scarf. C. Grow it out again. D. All of these. Answer. C. Grow it out again. 19. When Della opens her present, she understands Jim's reaction to her haircut. Jim has bought the expensive set of pure tortoise shell, with jeweled rims she has admired and wanted for quite some time. A. Headbands. B. Combs. C. Hairpins. D. All of these. Answer. B. Combs. 20. Jim and Della's dinner could possibly be a pun on her haircut. A. Soup. B. Porridge. C. Mash. D. Chops. Answer. D. Chops. 21. The theme of this story is that Jim and Della's love for each other is much more valuable than any A. Material gift. B. Expensive dinner. C. Person's opinion. D. Verbal expressions of love. Answer. A. Material gift. 22. How much money does Della have? A. $1.80. B. $1.18. C. $1.87. D. $1.78. Answer. C. $1.87. 23. What does Della want to do with the money? A. Pay the rent. B. Buy a Christmas present. C. Buy food. D. Give it to her husband. Answer. B. Buy a Christmas present. 24. How much money does the couple pay for their apartment per week? A. $18. B. $80. C. $88. D. $8. Answer. D. $8. 25. What is the last name of the couple in the story? A. Brigham Young. B. Dillinger Young. C. Dillingham Young. D. Dillon Young. Answer. C. Dillingham Young. 26. What happened to Jim's salary? A. It was reduced from $30 per week to $20. B. He was fired. C. Della spent it. D. He used it to pay the rent. Answer. A. It was reduced from $30 per week to $20. 27. What does Della do for extra money? A. She cuts hair. B. She sells her hair. C. She gets a job at a hair goods store. D. She models her hair. Answer. B. She sells her hair. 28. What does Della give Jim for a gift? A. A chain for his pocket watch. B. A pocket watch. C. A watch fob. D. A couch. Answer: A. A chain for his pocket watch. 29. How old is Jim? A. 31. B. 22. C. 21. D. 1 year older than Della. Answer: B. 22. 30. What does Jim give Della for a gift? A. A couch. B. A stove. C. Hair combs. D. A table. Answer: C. Hair combs. 31. What does Jim do to have the extra money for Della's gift? A. Works late. B. Asks for a salary increase. C. Sells the couch. D. Sells his watch. Answer: D. Sells his watch. 32. What is another word for couch? A. Comb. B. Sofa. C. Beverage. D. Table. Answer: B. Sofa. 33. How much money did Della spend on Jim's gift? A. $21. B. $21.87. C. $1.87. D. 87 cents. Answer: A. $21. 34. At the beginning of the story, which of the following is most upsetting to Della? A. The thought of parting with her hair. B. The thought that short hair may be unattractive. C. The idea of not having a present good enough for Jim. D. The possibility that Jim would not be able to buy her a gift. Answer: C. The idea of not having a present good enough for Jim. 35. Della's hair and Jim's watch have always made them feel: A. Proud. B. Nervous. C. Worthy of each other. D. Ashamed of their other possessions. Answer: A. Proud. 36. Della chooses the gift she gets for Jim because it: A. Costs just the right amount. B. Seems to be made for him. C. Will make his old watch look like new. D. Is surely nicer than what he has bought her. Answer: B. Seems to be made for him. 37. Why does Jim react so strangely when Della tells him she has sold her hair? A. He thinks she looks like a chorus girl. B. He is upset that she didn't consult him. C. He is ashamed of not being an adequate provider. D. He has bought a gift for her that is no longer usable. Answer: D. He has bought a gift for her that is no longer usable. 38. When Della opens her gift, she is overcome with mixed feelings that include all of the following except: A. Guilt. B. Despair. C. Delight. D. Disbelief. Answer: A. Guilt. 39. Jim has sold what in order to buy a present for Della? A. His family's watch. B. He didn't sell anything. C. His shoes. D. His overcoat. Answer: A. His family's watch. 40. When Jim and Della realize the full extent of what they have done, they: A. Refuse to believe it. B. Try to make the best of it. C. Look for someone else to blame. D. Make plans to undo what they have done. Answer: B. Try to make the best of it. 41. At the end of the story, Jim puts his gift from Della away for safekeeping because A. It is fragile. B. It is valuable in terms of money. C. It is valuable in emotional terms. D. He doesn't have a current use for it. Answer D. He doesn't have a current use for it. 42.0 Henry references the Magi in both the title and the story itself. What kind of literary device is this? A. Foreshadowing. B. Allusion. C. Metaphor. D. Personification. Answer B. Allusion. 43 type of irony is used in this story. A. Situational irony. B. Dramatic irony. Answer A. Situational irony.